Kaieteur Radio, keeping you informed.
Demerara and Essequibo 99.1 FM.
Berbice 99.5 FM. Kaieteur Radio.
Namaste to you and welcome to Kaieteur Radio 99.1 and 99.5 FM. It is Friday, TGIF, and welcome down as usual to the Lall Show, where we tell it as it is. This evening, Mr. Lall has a very important presentation for you, like he always brings to you every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And of course, we really hope that you will pay keen attention. And when that time comes, you will call us. Those numbers, they are 226-745-324, 622-2222, or 624-6456. Sir, a very good Friday to you. And before we start, I know a very good friend. She's very diverse and know a lot about makeup. I'll get you in contact with her so you can get some makeup classes, if you don't mind. So immediately after the show, I call my good friend Suzanne to get it up and running. So namaste to you.
Ms. Harris, you see how Joshua can be embarrassed? He's telling the whole nation I need a makeup artist. It's okay, Joshua. It's okay. It's just a little powder I rub on my face. And if the mirror wasn't right, you know. So at least the viewers and the listeners, some of them, the listeners can't see. The viewers, I think most of them got the same type of eyes that I have. Can't see much better or much. All right? So namaste, Joshua.
Namaste, sir.
The World Health Organization revealed COVID deaths. They say it meets 6 million in the world today. But they believe it surpassed 15 million because there are many countries who did not record or give the true statistic of how many people died in their country. That's why they believe it's over 15 million. And I share an example with India. They say India reported 477,000 deaths when they believe is over 4.7 million people in India alone. Wow. They said many other countries throughout Asia and Africa are also underreporting the figures. So we will do exact figures as to the death this pandemic has caused and are continuing to take in this world today. So let me tell you guys, this pandemic is nowhere close to an end. Let me also announce to all of you another virus that is lurking in the air called monkeypox. Came out of the Democratic Republic of Congo. It already reached parts of Europe, Canada, Australia, and the United States. I don't know if any is in the Caribbean, but pray that it doesn't come here. It's a frightening look. It comes out mostly in your mouth and in the palm of your hand. And you know where else? Yes, the private parts of your body. It's a horrible looking thing with close contact, using towels and bed sheets, kisses, and you know the rest. The symptoms of this monkeypox, them say, uncle, is rash, fever, headache, muscle aches, back pain, and tiredness. So if you start getting all those things, watch out. It's worse than looking. These are all signs. You know from whom, Miss Harris? From the big man above. Yes, God Almighty. showing every one of us who's in command, who's in control. COVID. And now you get monkeypox spreading. I just want you guys to be careful, especially those of you who are traveling. Stay safe. Be safe. Don't make the monkey come close to you. You have to stick around and fight the fight for a better Guyana. Not only for yourself, but that of your children and grandchildren. With that, I say namaste to all of you. I love you. And I thank you for tuning in every Monday, Wednesdays, and Friday to listen to what I have to present to you people. Whatever I say from the last 1.5 years is factual. No single politician or anybody can refute what I have been saying. And I'm going to kick off tonight's program with a story that has been playing on my mind for the last 5 years. You want to hear the story, Miss Harris? 5 years I've been sleeping with this story. This is a very important piece of information that I think all Guyana should and must know. I had to get clearance from the man who shared it with me. A man named Dr. Jan Mangal. It has to do with how and who was responsible for the release of the ExxonMobil oil contract to the public. You hear what I said there, Ms. Harris? Yep. Yes. This same gentleman who said a few days ago in a story we carried in the Kaieteur news, Guyana should not create a national oil company. And don't go down that road with the Wales gas to shore project, was the key figure, the key player for the release of that ExxonMobil contract. You hear that, Ms. Harris? Mm-hmm. Dr. Jan Mangal was at the time in 2017 the advisor to President Granger on the oil and gas. He told me in a conversation back in 2017, when the whole country was barking, shouting, and jumping up at the government to release that contract, that David Granger called a meeting at the State House with his senior cabinet members. Joseph Harmon was present, so was Carl Greenidge, Raphael Trotman, David Patterson, and some others I can't remember. He said, President Granger asked all the members present at the meeting to give their opinions whether the oil contract should be made public or not. Jan Mangal said the cabinet officials were allowed to speak first, and every one of them was against releasing the contract to the public. You hear that? Or you want me to repeat that? Every one of them was against the release of ExxonMobil to the contract to the public. When they were done with their views, President Granger asked him, said to him, now you have heard them, Jan Mangal. Let's hear from you. Dr. Mangal said he made his presentation recommending that the contract be made public, and the meeting was over. He said, as they were leaving the State House, President Granger called him back and said, Jan, I agree with you. The contract should be released to the people. and told Dr. Mangal to speak with Sir Sridat Ramphal. Yes, Sir Sridat Ramphal. Dr. Mangal told me Sir Sridat Ramphal too was against the release of the contract. And that information was reported back to President Granger. It was after this that President Granger instructed his government to release the contract. You hear that? Joshua, you hear that?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Everybody was against releasing the contract. I wanted to share, or I wanted this information to be in the open so that you, the Guyanese people, can know who are the players that were responsible for releasing that contract. Mr. David Granger went against his top party and the government lieutenants and released that contract. That today, we all know our fate, what is there for us. Joshua, hadn't that contract been in the public domain, we would have never known that Guyanese only got 2% royalty and 50-50 profit sharing after Exxon take out what they want. We would have never known that ExxonMobil can recover interest rates on all the loans they took to spend out there. We would have never known that there is no ring fencing attached to the contract that gives Guyana protection. We would have never known these things. Hadn't they released a contract, Miss Harris, we would have never known that Guyana is left in the open without full liability to cover an oil spill disaster. You hear that? We would have never known that the contract said that Exxon can sell we own gas. Yes. They call the shots. One that the gas, they call the shots on the gas we have to use. We would have never known that the ExxonMobil can take out money from we oil to pay for anything from the moon to the stars and say is for the project. We would have never known these things. We would have never known there is no decommissioning policy in place, meaning there is no rule how to close and when to close an oil well. We would have never known that Guyana only got a limited 2 years to audit them billions themselves are spending out there as costs. It was that contract, uncle and auntie, that tell us that we will never get production bonus from ExxonMobil. You hear that? Is that contract back? We know that. Without the release of that contract, none of us would have ever known that ExxonMobil and partners with all the contractors walks out this country without paying any taxes. We would have never known all these things. Without that contract, we would have never known. They gave away 600 oil blocks to one license, ExxonMobil, when the last only 60 oil block per license. We would have never known that ExxonMobil can take out how much oil they want and say it's to run the operation. You hear that? Yeah, man. Uncle, without seeing this contract, without this contract being in the open, for we to peruse, for we to check, for we to read, study this contract, we would have never known the loopholes that are built in there that expose the giveaway to ExxonMobil and the damage to Guyana. We would have never known that. Without that contract, no international agency or oil exports could have said a word about Guyana and its oil. Absolutely nothing, uncle. This is how important that single act of President Granger and Dr. Jan Mangal has been to this country. Yes. They could bring up 100,000 barrels a day and take 50,000 instead of use that to run the operation daily. You hear me? That's how important having this contract out in the public, and everybody should bow down and praise David Granger and Jan Mangal for that. Without seeing this contract and exposing it for what it is, Uncle, every single Guyanese, of course, with the exception of those who sign it and those who have it in their possession, yes, all of us would have been walking like pigs to the slaughterhouse, not knowing any single thing. We would have been living in dreamlands with hopes and aspirations about what is there for us. That's how we would have been living. The Trinidadian people saw their contract for the first time after 70 years. I repeat that. Many countries around the world, I'll finish, complete, done, man. Finito, they say in Spanish. And people still wondering, wondering what is still to get. Yeah, man. They're wondering what is still to get with debts on their back. A simple thing, Ms. Harris, like the review reports of the Payara and Yellowtail projects, we still can't see that yet. 20 billion American dollars rests on Guyana's shoulder. And the nation can't see those reports that block them away between the foot. These are not laughable things, my dear. Where else he lock it away? The reports belong to him, which is why he keep them hidden away. Yes, this is not how a principled, caring leaders behave, man. Ms. Harris?
At all.
Huh? This is not how a patriotic leader with the people's interest at heart carries himself. No, man. With the richest asset that belong to us. The biggest thing that ever happened to us, man. This man hiding away a review reports from us. Why is he doing this? What is there in those two reports, Joshua, that he's hiding from us? Why are you so afraid, Mr. Jagdeo? Can somebody help me here? I am taking his clothes off here, Uncle. You understand? And I am taking his clothes off button by button, thread by thread. These are the kind of things they don't want you to see. They don't want you to know. They don't want you to listen to. Yes, you hiding reports from the nation. Important reports like that. Joshua? All them gold contracts, bauxite contracts, timber contracts, and now the manganese contracts that belong to us. Yes, all these minerals that belong to us. Yes, the people of this country. All them contracts tuck away, hide away from our eyes. Why are they hiding it, Uncle? Do I have to explain that? Ms. Harris, do I still have to explain that? Why they're hiding it away?
To some of these people.
If you do nothing wrong in those contracts, if you're clean and the deal is clear and fair, it's overboard, why you don't want to release them, guys? Ask your president, ask your opposition leader, and all the rest in the government. Yes. Ask them to come clean. Where they lock them away, let us have them. All these foreigners can come in this land and thief out everything with contracts they're hiding from us. And we can't see what we're getting out of these contracts. All we're seeing is jobs, servant jobs, sail and cooks. I was told by 3 people who work closely with President Granger that he did not know that the contract was signed. And when you listen to what Jan Mangal said, yes, he said it once in the newspapers, it leaves me to believe that David Granger had nothing to do with the signing of that contract. Jan Mangal said in writing, Uncle and Auntie, that when he told President Granger about the contract, he seemed surprised. What I mean, Miss Harris?
The man didn't know anything.
President Granger was not aware of the signing of that contract. And it may have been inked behind his back. Brothers and sisters, I hope one day we can all get the answer as to whether the cabinet ever discussed this contract. Because if it was signed behind his back, Miss Harris, or without lawful authorization of the president, it cannot be valid. It cannot be valid. Only President Granger can come out and speak the truth. I was also told that President Granger had instructed Raphael Trotman, after he would have learned and after he would have been seeing what the Kaieteur News and what people have been saying about the contract, to renegotiate the contract. I don't know how that happened, and I don't know when that was happened. I do know he did. He did. 3 people close to them told me that. You guys remember the 18 million signing bonus? I believe that President Granger didn't even know that Guyana received that money. But he did come out, you know. He did come out with a statement and apologize to the nation for not disclosing the information. It's the same thing he do with the contract too. Had he gone back there, you hear me, Miss Harris? Had President Granger gone back there in 2020, I am betting my last dollar this contract we're sitting with would have been changed. He would have been renegotiated it. That's my belief. Don't kill me for my belief. What you want to believe, that's your belief. I'm telling you my belief. I don't want to pat myself on my shoulder, but I must tell you guys, I am delighted tonight. I am proud of what we all do at the Kaieteur News. Tuesday, you gotta hear this one, Miss Harris. Tuesday, the government finally released a production report in which the media can finally report to the nation what Guyana has gotten from March 2020 to February this year. The 2% royalty. You hear that? They released the report from March 2020 to February of this year. And you got to listen carefully what Guyana get. The 2% royalty for that 2 years, uncle, give Guyana $81 million. You hear me, man? $81 million. And the taxes for that amount of oil we give away to ExxonMobil is 657 million American dollar.
Wow.
You see why they were hiding these reports from us? Huh? ExxonMobil walk away with 8 times in taxes as to what we get in royalty.
Wow.
81 million US dollar in 2 years. Can't even patch a few roads in a village. Hey, I love this country. and Vice President Jagdeo approving more and more projects without raising the royalty rates or put an end to that tax giveaway or get more royalty. He's not fixing all them loopholes. You know, he's not plugging them. And he's just giving away more and more projects. We're borrowing money to buy flash drives for the children in schools. Uncle and Auntie, next thing y'all will hear, Guyana borrowing money to also buy pencils and crayons for the children and chalk, so the teachers can write on the blackboards. Hey, I love this country. I have warned you people since I began this program a year and a half ago that the fishing industry will vanish. It will disappear. You remember that, Miss Harris?
Yep.
You got to hear this one, Uncle. Your leaders, on to this day, have not come out and tell you people I am correct. No, they never come out and say Glenn Lall is correct. The leaders did not do anything to seek compensation from ExxonMobil for the fishermen and their families, and that of all Guyanese who depend to eat sheep snapper and gilbaka. No, they did nothing, and they say nothing. Guess what happened, Uncle and Auntie? Listen to this carefully, please. Tomorrow we're reporting the government, yes, this government, passing laws to make importation of fish very easy and simple. Man, you don't hear what we said, man. The people are passing law to make importation of fish simple in Guyana. You have to import fish now, Uncle. Is where Guyana will find the foreign currency to import the fish. May I ask? Oh boy, you have to import fish. Yes. And you still got to live with that same no-sided contract. I'll contract you got. Every day that goes by, Miss Harris, is more and more hardships for y'all bellies. Yes. All because of ExxonMobil and them foreigners in your country. You believe you got to import fish now, man? And I'm going to make it easy for you to import them? Yeah? But let's go back. Let's go back. Let's don't deviate. I don't want to deviate. Let's go back to the profit Guyana get for the last 2 years, man. We're not done with that piece of thing, man. $638 million. This is a profit, you know. Profit for the 2 years, I thought they get 81 million. You hear me? In royalty. Profit for the 2 years, we get 638 million US. Now, I don't want to ask you what I can buy. That's too insultive. But if you add the royalty and the profit, the 638 with the 81, you get 719 million US dollar. In total, Guyana received in 2 years, yes, from the Isle. And give away 719, out of 719 we give away 657 million in taxes alone. You hear me? This is business in a country, eh? Minus what Guyana get versus the taxes, and Guyana walk away, we get so much? 52 million US. 52 million US dollar Guyana get in 2 years. Oh my gosh. Oh Papa. US $1 trillion Isle business. The whole world talking about how rich Guyana is and will become. We are the fastest growing economy on earth. Raking in $52 million for 2 years from the oil industry. Man, I need help. Can somebody help me?
Start some planting chips.
Huh? You can help me? Or you help me planting chip?
Start some planting chips and make more money.
You know, Miss Harris, ExxonMobil walk away, right? With billions of American dollars in that 2 year.
Yep, plenty.
You hear me? While Guyana get a few million. Yes, 52 million. Man, you help me now, man. You see why they were hesitant to give the production report?
Exactly.
They don't want to release nothing. How the whole world is begging them, Jagdev, to release the Payara and the Yellowtail review reports, and we're not getting that. I have said two things umpteen times, and I will repeat them again tonight. The total oil money Guyana receive and will receive will not be enough to repair the damages and destruction this oil industry will do to our country. You hear that?
Yep.
And when the oil is finished in this land, Guyana will have debts more than what it has collected from the oil industry. If we do not correct, if we do not change, if we do not stop this insanity going on right now in this oil sector with this oil contract, I'm begging you people every single day on this program. There is nothing that I've said there anyone can dispute. It's the figures that they throw out that I am talking about. Sri Lanka, I have to repeat again, with a 36 million population, 2 days ago wanted $75 million to buy basic medicine and food to keep the people going. Google it, it's there, uncle and auntie. Long lines there for fuel. For fuel. Guyana, under the stewardship of these politicians of this land, may not even get 75,000 to borrow 40 years from now. Not to buy food for the Guyanese people, but to buy spades for digging your grave. That's how fast the citizens will be dying due to malnutrition and starvation. That's what I'm saying. At least Sri Lanka begging for 75 million to pay for the fuel and medicine where they're on the wharf and they can't get it from the banks. Them owe too much. Them owe 52 billion American dollars plus. Guyana get $52 million, Bernard. You late. Namaste. 52 million Guyana get in 2 years. Last week, our Attorney General responded very harshly to a story we carried, in which we said 8 million estimated to build a parking shed at his ministry. Yes, could build 2 turnkey homes for the poor people. He said that that is poor journalism to compare his parking shed to 2 homes, and went on at a rate, and even what appeared to me to be a threat relating to state advertisements. Yes.
That is already before.
I admit the reporter made a blunder and it slipped the editor's eyes. I must admit that one. I have since made steps to correct any such reoccurrence. However, Mr. AG, I would like to hear what you have to say about the Guyana Chronicle, the government newspaper to which you are part of. The Guyana Chronicle reported a magical story a few days ago, in which a so-called professional business and financial analyst said that Guyana will make $653 billion in the first 5 years of the Gas to Shore project. This was an acrobatic or gymnastic mythical analysis for me. Since the cost of the project is not yet known in its entirety, nor the price for which Guyana has to pay for the gas. Uncle and auntie, that analyst, what he said in the Guyana Chronicle about the gas, the shore project, is like Lall telling y'all 2 plus 2 is 9. By the way, I must inform you, I called the analyst who wrote the article that goes by the name Joel Bagwandin the very night after my program, and he did not answer me. I called him back Tuesday, no answer. I called him back Wednesday from my cell phone, and no answer. But when I used my private landline and called him, he answered. I was delighted to hear him say that he will join me on this program tonight. Could you give me a clap there? Yay! Yes, 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 he will join us tonight. I love that. The link is sent to your phone to join me after my presentation. I can't wait to have this live discussion with you, Joel. Uncle and auntie, every program I've done, I have been exposing to you very simple what both the PPP and the coalition government has done and still continuing to do to this land and its people. All they have been doing is focusing on frivolous things, cussing out each other, pulling down each other, doing their very best, yes, to cause racial division among us. They are not focusing on ways that they can work together in unity to bring about major changes to the way our wealth is managed. Yes, no, they are not doing that. They are not working together to uplift this nation and to make the lives of the people of this country way better. No, that is not there. Uncle, 2 brothers in charge of their coconut farm, them inherit from their parents. They depend on every cent to feed and make their families happy. They both bring in a picker to pick and sell the coconuts, then share profits. Millions of coconuts coming out the farm every day, worth millions, but only a few pennies are being thrown at both families. And instead of the 2 brothers, them put them heads together, sit down and manage the coconut farm. Watch every cost, every coconut that pick, be part of the selling price to avoid both families getting shaft. They're just fighting with each other, poking finger at each other. Who fenced in who land? Whose son broke the bicycle? Who wife wear what? Yes. Who going where and who cooking what? Do I have to tell you guys what will happen if they continue this way with that attitude?
No.
Ms. Harris?
No.
Do I have to tell you guys that soon they will have nothing to talk about because there soon be nothing to eat from the coconut farm or where?
Nothing,
Huh? I share that story with you guys because that is where Guyana is presently with the PPP government and the coalition, the 2 brothers of this country. That's what they're doing every day. The opposition leader gone to Boris for talk about bad roads, and the other talking about growing fish and shrimp in pond. Absolutely nothing about this $1 trillion oil sector in which we are being shafted every second. Every second, Joshua. Every second. Nothing they're not talking about. Thank you, Joshua. I am at a loss sometimes for words to describe this lunacy that is going on in this land with these people. Look what is their priority, Bernard. Talking about roads and planting hemp. Huh? For the first time, the newly elected opposition leader. Mr. Harris, you gotta hear this one, man. First time the newly elected opposition leader meeting with the newly elected president. What did they talk about? Appointing people to the substantial constitutional office. This episode have been an ongoing mantra with both political parties for the last forever, man. You know that, Bernard?
Yep.
It has been a mantra with them.
Forever.
And they get nowhere. They have the people in acting position. Many have died acting. And they will still continue to die acting because they will not agree on anything and anybody. Yes. Did they talk about your wealth? Did they say anything about your resources? Can you laugh for me, man? I can't laugh at this one. These are the kind of things we got to laugh at.
Hell yeah.
That is not a matter of urgency or importance to both of them. Yes, taking loans, paying fat interest rates, indebting this country year after year is an emergency for one government after another. To pay that penny salary and pension and buy flash drives with the loans they keep borrowing. That is priority for them. Government talking about roads and planting hemp in Guyana. Going to Parliament, Bernard, to pass law to regulate that industry.
What up the $1 trillion industry?
They're putting fines and jail terms in the law too. Laws for the oil industry to regulate and jail people for thieving the oil money, not important. That's not a law.
$1 trillion.
Are you hearing what's going on, Uncle? How much more simple can I make it? That happened only this week. They also to pass law for the hemp to jail people if you plant illegally. But they put the law for jail people to thief your oil money. President Ali hosted a conference yesterday with regional leaders. Prime Minister Mia Mottley of Barbados, the lady was paying $100 million to supply 178 megawatt electricity to her country, was present. Prime Minister Kaieteur of Trinidad and Tobago, who now plug in loopholes in their contract, yes, was also present among the CARICOM leaders. I only hope President Ali would have used that opportunity to get some guidance from these regional old heads on how to give Guyana cheap electricity rather than the hydro seed, and how to fix that lopsided contract from the TT Prime Minister Kaieteur. I only hope they do that. I'll be telling you guys a little on that down the road. That same Trinidad Prime Minister, like I said, he said any contract, and let me repeat this. The man said any contract that benefits one party is not a contract. And he get one of the largest oil companies on earth, BP, British Petroleum, to sit at a table and was able to get a far better deal for his people of Trinidad and Tobago in 3 weeks.
The same BPO sent $1 billion oil spill in the Gulf of Mexico.
Yes, that same British Petroleum, yes, that was involved in the oil spill in the Gulf of Mexico, that has spent 70 billion American dollars so far in the cleanup and still spending. The Guyana National Broadcasting Authority has sent me a threatening letter to the Kaieteur radio. I guess all the radio stations would have gotten the same letter demanding full payment for the radio license fees for 2022, which is close to $4 million, and said if we can't pay, they're going to take legal action. Uncle, no country in the world, not even the United States of America, pay that amount of money, this government charging radio stations in Guyana. Not one, no way. Every day, they're behind you with a letter to pay up. Up front, you know, man, Bernard. This 2022, you know, I'm talking about.
I didn't know that.
Yes, in this COVID crisis. It's not 2021 I'm talking about, you know, man. Last year, we don't owe them anything. Trust me, we pay them half clear. This year, they're fighting you down with letter upon letter. This is how hungry they are. Yes. Pressuring and squeezing the Guyanese businesses for a few dollars. Yes.
Give an example.
They are not squeezing the foreign companies to get the rightful shares.
They're paying exam taxes, 720.
Forget taxes. Them squeezing, pressuring the local companies and local radio stations. Yes, that's what they're doing. They're not squeezing the bauxite, gold, diamond, timber, the oil companies to wring out money from them.
They can't show
No.
that to see the big hole in the ground that China will build.
Yes. Today, again, we receive another letter, this time from the Government Frequency Managed Unit, demanding full payment too. This is another payment. And if we don't pay within 90 days, the minister has the power to shut down the radio station. Today we get a letter. I must let you know that we already pay this unit half of what they are supposed to collect at the beginning of the year. And I'm running you down like hungry and unconscionable landlord to extract everything out of you. Yes.
And you Guyanese citizens, they always came to the exam.
What a Guyana this is, uncle. You understand? President Ali got state agencies. President Ali have state agencies running down radio stations that are doing the most important services to a nation in $1 trillion US oil industry. Yes, we're talking about that. Educating the nation. Yeah, man. But not saying a word or running down. Not running down. Not having state agencies running down for the billions we're losing out in US dollars from these foreign companies in these countries. He's not using the state agencies to go after these people for taxes and royalties, running down people for radio license fees. Oh, what a Guyana.
Disgraceful.
Man, this is not disgraceful. When leaders can sink to this level, going after its own local businesses like radio stations, trying to squeeze out of them a few Guyana dollars, what they don't have or not making, but giving away the foreigners a sweet free ride to do whatever they want, how they want and when they want with our riches, with our resources, with our wealth. Man, when they can run after we and try to squeeze we and allow these people for take away we present and our future, what else do we say in this land about our leaders, man?
Fight.
Huh? This type of low life, sneaky, cowardly behavior y'all using is not going to work on Glen Lall. Y'all gotta go back to the drawing board and start over and come fresh with something new. A dead TV host used to name Clem David used to say, your slip showing whenever the leaders slip up with their evil actions. Uncle and auntie, let me say this. Their actions today is not exposing their slip alone. It's exposing the dirty, stinking underwear under the slip they're wearing. You gotta like me or you gotta hate me. I am who I am. Once the maker got my back, I am good to go and I am happy. God bless you guys. Have a great weekend. I wonder if them little radio station can pay the million fees. I don't know. But this is your country called Guyana. Is it really the radio station y'all want to shut down, or y'all want to shut down Glen Lall mouth? What y'all think, Uncle and Auntie? Man, it's only the maker can do that. And he ain't ready for it yet. Can we get our good friend, Mr. Joel Bagwandin, online? And let's have this discussion. While we are getting him, the stocks, 45% of the stocks of baby milk in the United States is not on the shelf. They're running out of baby milk in America. Long, long lines. That's where America, that's where all the rich countries of the world is heading, into lines. Trust me, lines gonna be here sooner than you think. Yes, get Joel Bagon in for me, please.
He said 8:20. It's only 12 minutes after. We have some time.
We can wait.
Oh, he's here.
Okay, go ahead. All right, you got him online?
1 second. He's joining. Yes, he's here.
Joel, into lines. Joel, can't hear. Trust me. Lines gonna be here sooner than you think. Yes, get Joel Bagon in for me, please.
Good evening.
Yes, he's here.
Joel, we can wait.
Okay.
Joel.
Good night.
Okay, go ahead. All right, you got him online?
You're live on
Joel?
You hearing me?
Yes, I'm hearing you, but you kind of lost in between. Can you hear me loud?
Do you hearing me now?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear. Joel,
Okay, good.
Joel Bagwandin is your name. Am I correct?
Yes, that is correct, Uncle Glenn.
I thank you, young man, for joining me on this program. Before we get on to the nitty-gritty of the analysis you did for the Gas to Shore project in the Guyana Chronicle, let me ask you this, Joel. You had a good day today?
Yep, I had a very busy day. And it's Friday, so you know what happens on Friday, right?
I hear you. All right.
And let me say, Glenn.
Go ahead.
I want to. I got to call you Uncle Glenn.
Yes, go
I
ahead.
think you're probably old enough to be my father. I want to thank you for this opportunity to have this conversation with you, Glenn, because I think both of us. I'm not seeing you on the screen. Can I see you so we could exchange?
1 second, you will.
We could see each other as we talk.
Yes, go ahead.
Good, yeah. So, yeah, this is an important topical discussion of national importance, and everybody from different profession, different background, different training are entitled to their opinion based on their perspectives. So I welcome this. I welcome this very much, right? And more importantly, it gives me the opportunity, because I've read what you wrote about me yesterday. I'm not concerned about the Chronicle. I'm concerned about what you wrote about me, which is good. And I've listened to what you said, and you also talk about it. So this gives us the opportunity to have a very hopefully meaningful conversation. And I hope that you give me the opportunity when I speak to allow me to speak and articulate and explain, not only for your benefit in this conversation, but cognizant of the fact that you have about 100,000 people 100,000 Guyanese of your viewership looking at this program from all walks of life and different levels of intelligence and different perspectives, right? So I expect you to give me that opportunity.
I will.
Right?
I will. Can we begin?
Go ahead.
Can we begin? All right. The first thing I want to ask you, Joel, do you own or work for a company that will be part of the Gas to Shore project, this investment? Or do you have any business interest in the oil industry? Or have you been promised anything by the government or the oil companies for that article published in the Guyana Chronicle under your name?
I thought you would have asked me, Glenn, to explain the analysis. Listen,
All right. All right.
I would like to see. No. I can answer your question. No. I can answer your question. I got whole night. We got till midnight.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Right?
I have
I
a
want to see
reason
you on
why I
the
asked
screen.
that question.
I want to see you on the screen, man. Let the
Yes.
guys put you up on the screen. I want to watch myself.
Yeah, go ahead. You can talk in the meantime. The 100,000 people listening to us can't see us. But let's get
You
going.
have been, for the past, how many years? 5 years you've been doing this? You have been advocating for the benefit of Guyanese, the benefit from the oil and gas industry, right? Every single night, Glenn, what I must commend you, you're a shrewd businessman. You have your objective. Anybody could read what is your objective. You're a very smart guy. You know what you're doing. And your message is very consistent. And so for 5 years, for 365 days a year, you have been fighting for Guyanese.
Thank you.
You've been fighting for Guyanese to benefit from the oil and gas.
Thank you.
So you asked me if I've been promised anything or if I have any interest. All of us have interest in the oil and gas industry. And as Guyanese, yes, all of us want to benefit from this. You've been fighting for me, so thank you for fighting for me. And as Guyanese professionals, right, I don't know how much you know about me, but I know you know a lot about me. You know exactly who I am, but you're pretending you don't know who is this Joel Bagondin. But you know exactly who is Joel Bagondin because you did the research on me. So you know of my portfolio, you know of my credentials, you know of my background, and you know all of that. And I have multiple portfolios and capacities, right? I'm a financial, I pride myself as a financial analyst. I've been writing analyses, providing insights and analyses on economic and finance issues, not today, not yesterday, but since 2017.
Man, Joel, let's get going.
Weekly columns.
Man, Joel,
No.
Let's get going.
Let me answer your question about it.
Yes, go
Let me
ahead.
answer your question. So yes, I'll answer your question pointedly. All of us, including me and including you, Glenn, have interest. And so based on our professional training and our entrepreneurial skills, we all want to position. And every day, if you go on Guyana Energy, I'm a non-executive director on the Energy Chamber, Guyana Oil and Gas Energy Chamber. And I've been conducting training sessions with our school children as part of a CSR program on educating school children and their teachers, CXC students on the oil and gas sector. Say, yes, all of us have an interest, have a vested interest. So yes, I do have a vested interest in what is happening in this country to position myself and my family and everybody else who I interact with as an entrepreneur. I have my wife and I my wife more so has a consulting practice. And what we do in our consulting practice is we provide financial advice. You asked me a question, let me answer you, Glenn. I tell you, don't interrupt me. This is the condition. I agree with you. You ask me a question, so listen to the answer, right? I am telling you, yes, I've been doing this. The next question you're going to ask me if I'm a businessman, because you're a businessman. Yes, I'm a businessman too, like you. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm not a so-called financial analyst. The work I've been doing as a finance professional in this country for the past 15 years, I've been helping companies like yours, small companies, large companies, as a finance professional, through the work I do, through the analytic work I do, to raise capital to finance their businesses. And you know how much? More than $6 billion I have in my track record, more than $6 billion, Guyana dollars. I've successfully, through my profession, help companies to raise capital for their businesses. Good. So next question. Let me talk about the analysis now.
Joel, you're selling yourself here. We're not here
Well,
to, we're not
this
here
is
to
Kaieteur
discuss
News,
that.
but you invite me
We're
to
here-
come on your
all right.
program. You're a businessman. I'm a
All right.
businessman too.
All right. let's get going with what you said.
You've been calling me a so-called
I have-
analyst, and I do
I have-
mythical analysis. So let me tell you about. Let me use the forum to tell you of my track record.
I hear
Nobody
you.
can change my track record.
I hear
Right,
you.
so let's first of all establish respectability here. We're gonna have a big man's conversation, a mature conversation on the topic. Let's have it. Okay? Don't try to ridicule me. Okay? Let's deal with the technical aspect, and I'm prepared to break it down in layman language for you and your audience.
Thank you. Good. Let's get going. I have the Chronicle newspaper with me here, and you said, and I quote, "I want to make the point that the 1.3 billion to finance the pipeline infrastructure, while it is being deducted from the cost oil from Liza 1 and Liza 2, it is for the direct and indirect benefits of the Guyanese people of Guyana, for the country at large, and that is fantastic. That is a remarkable example of getting more value, nonetheless, from using the existing lopsided contract terms and conditions. We are being able to get more out of it." Can you tell us what you're saying there? What you mean?
What I mean by that? Good. Thank you for that. So Glenn, again, I will make reference to you as good, so I can see you now. Glenn, Uncle Glenn, I only see in your head.
Go ahead. We're gonna fix it. Don't go ahead.
All right. Good. Now this is interesting. Good. So, I mean, we could have different opinions and different perspectives, as I said, based on where we sit and based on our professional training and background. Now, the whole of Guyana know what is your position with respect to renegotiating the oil contract. You have been repeating that for the past 5 years, 365 days a year.
And you're not on board
Now,
with that.
The government of the day, right? Many commentators would have been accusing the government that they promised to renegotiate the contract. Now, in all fairness, when I dealt with this matter, I went to the manifesto myself, which is accessible online, to verify whether indeed the government promised to renegotiate the contract. Now, I've been following, developments in Guyana every single day. And I particularly recall the vice president, when he was in opposition, as opposition leader, has said to this nation that we're going to respect the sanctity of contract. And there is that stability clause in the contract. And because of that,
Joel,
we are
please.
not going to renegotiate this particular production sharing agreement.
Joel, please.
We're going to have a different fiscal regime, a different production sharing agreement for future contracts. Now, let's examine the implications, the pros and cons of renegotiating the contract and not renegotiating the contract. Right? Now, in the government manifesto,
Joel, I did not ask you anything about renegotiating.
They're going to work with the oil companies to have better contract administration, right? Better contract administration. And by better contract administration, my interpretation of that is using the same fiscal terms and conditions, we are going to work with the oil companies to nonetheless maximize the value. So let me break that down. So how did they maximize value? They have done two fundamental things to maximize value. Now, I've been part of the private sector. I've worked with the private sector commission as a financial and economic analyst. I'm still part of major business support organizations.
Joel, I did not ask you that question,
And
Joel, I did not ask you anything about that.
Since 2015, when we discussed
Joel, I did not ask you anything of what you're saying there. please.
Glenn, I see your mouth working, but you're on mute. I don't know if you're talking to me.
Yes, please. I did not ask you. I did not ask you anything about that, Joel. Of what you're saying there, I didn't ask you. You said I want to make a point that 1.3 billion to finance the pipeline project. That's what I'm talking about. I ain't telling you anything about that. Nothing that you're talking about there, I have asked you about. Please.
All right, so what you have asked me, you've read what I said verbatim.
Yes.
That the government has been doing, and the 1.3 billion is one of it.
To finance.
So
Let's stick with that one alone. Let's stick with that alone and move
Okay.
on. Let's
Okay,
stick with
good.
that.
Fair enough.
Good.
Now, $1.3 billion coming out of cost oil to finance the gas shore pipeline is a good thing for Guyana, because the objective, the ultimate objective, is to use the natural gas to generate electricity, to generate energy at a cheaper cost. Right?
All right.
And by the way, Glenn, allow me to talk a little bit more about the cost. Back in 2021, you would have carried an article by one of your journalists comparing the cost per mile to build one of these gas pipelines with the largest gas pipeline in Norway, the Guyana, with the cost per mile for our proposed gas pipeline. And you have written about me to say that I'm pushing propaganda. Now, let the viewers be the judge to understand what is propaganda. I've read that article. It was well researched. It talked about all the technical details and so forth. But what you did not report, Uncle Glenn, is the Norway gas pipeline was built 20 years ago. So how could you compare the cost per mile to build a pipeline with the cost per mile for a pipeline that isn't even built yet?
Joel,
When
hear you.
a housewife, a market vendor knows about the time value factor for money, $1 20 years ago does not have the same value of $1 today.
Joel.
And when you look at the inflation rate, right? The cumulative inflation rate 20 years ago was 56.25% for the US dollar. So that means $1 20 years ago is worth $1.56 today.
Joel.
That gas pipeline cost $2.8 billion 20 years ago. And in today's money is $4.3 billion.
Joel,
So what
could
is
we
propaganda?
stick?
Now,
Could
so
we
that's on
please
the
stick?
cost.
Could we please stick with what we're doing here?
Yeah, but
Could we please stick with what we are saying and what we're doing? I ask you about a 1.3 billion American dollars that you say that you base your analysts on for this project. That's what I ask you for. Let's stick with what I am asking you, straight and direct, please. Let's don't deviate and run into this and run into that. Now, you did an analysis to show this country whether this is a profitable or a losable venture. Now, you use a figure of $1.3 billion. That figure is not the final cost for this project. So, how can you analyze a project without knowing the final cost of a project?
Right.
You haven't, you haven't taken into consideration the plant, the Wales gas plant costs. You haven't taken into consideration the interest rate Guyana will be paying on the money Exxon spending on these pipelines. Let's deal with that. You haven't factoring everything, but you arrived at a figure. Could you explain that for the Guyanese people?
Good. So for the purpose of the discussion, Glenn, I did acknowledge. Now, Guyana Chronicle, like you, I started a weekly podcast where I did a detailed presentation. And I said in that presentation that the cost in this analysis is only the cost, the estimated cost for the pipeline. And there are other cost elements that were not considered, which include those very things you've mentioned, the onshore infrastructure and all the other costs. Now, since it got your attention, I revisit the analysis and run some more models. And I said, let's assume, for the purpose of this discussion tonight, the full cost of the project, which would include the onshore infrastructure, let's say it run up to $2 billion, $2 billion US dollars. So we have a 1.3 billion price tag. Let's inflate it to $2 billion. What would be the net benefit to the country? Now this, Glenn, you need to allow me to explain.
Can you hold 1 second? Can you just hold 1 second? You are just assuming it's a $2 billion. Let's not assume anything. My question to you, Guyana does not have the final project cost. Okay? Guyana does not know the price in which we will be paying for the gas landed at the gas plant. But you, Joel, arrived at a figure. And you did not only arrive at a figure, you're telling this nation that electricity will chop in two. How you arrive at that? That is what I want you to explain to the nation.
All right, good. So for me to explain that, Glenn, you gotta allow me to articulate and allow me to land, right? You said we got a whole night and we can chat.
No.
Right?
No, don't give us no Nancy story or magician story. Please, come straight.
No. You have been telling this nation Nancy's story for 5 years, right? In the same manner in which you are asking me, or you're inferring, or you're implying that the final cost is not out, and therefore a professional, a financial analyst or an economist, based on gas pipelines and gas plants that have been built in other parts of the country and based on data that would be available and empirical information, we can't do some projections. What do you think is a feasibility study?
Exactly.
A feasibility study.
Exactly what I'm telling you here.
Based on assumptions.
Wait.
Based on actual numbers. It's based on reasonable assumptions. That is how you build a financial model.
Joel.
Okay.
Joel, 1 second.
Let me speak. But
1
you
second. Let
me speak.
No. I cannot allow you to go ahead misleading me or talking.
You have been misleading the nation for 5 years, buddy.
I am saying no one. I have spoken.
Here now.
I have spoken with financial analysts.
You're saying that I can't, or a financial analyst can't come up with an estimate. Then I come up with a conclusion based on analysis that this thing has a net benefit for the country. So how then, if the figures are not available, how do you know you can bankrupt the country? We're in the same boat, buddy, and we have different...
No.
You justify your analysis to this nation. You've been telling this nation for 5 years that this project is bad for Guyana, and it can bankrupt the nation. So you justify your position.
No, Joel.
Show me the analysis to show me.
No, Joel.
The analysis and this country, how this thing will bankrupt the country when we have the lowest debt to GDP ratio, the money coming out of cost oil, not on the public debt. So when you factor that, it's not going on the public debt books. So we still have a low debt to GDP ratio. We still have a low debt service ratio. How it bankrupting the country? How could you do an analysis or tell the nation that they think of bankrupt the country, but I, as a professional financial analyst, can do an analysis that run counters to your view? And you're not allowing me to finish.
Joel, hold. There is no way. I have spoken to financial analysts. There is no way you can analyze a project of this magnitude without figures, without knowing the cost you are paying for gas. Come on. You don't have to be a professional like yourself to understand.
For demonstration.
No. There is no way on earth. No way on earth.
You
can you listen? The first thing, why the government is not doing a feasibility study in the first place?
How you know there's not a feasibility study?
No, there isn't. Where is it?
Who's doing it?
Because they are still finalizing the thing.
My friend, don't worry. You see, you just said that there, or how you know there isn't one? Where is it? And now you said they're finalizing it. Where is it and who is doing it?
Who is doing it?
There, listen,
Who
there are
is doing it?
feasibility studies that was done by independent firms. There are studies being done right now that I'm aware of, right? And right now, right, what we know, and you know this, is that Liza 1, Exxon is re-injecting about 90% of the gas back into the wells. And despite their re-injecting 90% of the gas, or a little over 90%, they still have enough to supply the gas pipeline, which would supply the 50 million per day,
Joel.
which would run for 25
Joel.
years. So the study that has to be done, Glenn, is to determine if the other fields, Liza 2 and Yellowtail and Payara, has sufficient gas to pipe to shore.
Joel, that is not
only
that
Liza
is not
1,
a
that is the
feasibility
that needs to
study.
be done to complete the feasibility study. What is a feasibility study? Okay, let's talk about the feasibility
This is
study,
an-
because
that-
I do a lot of feasibility
Joel,
studies.
Joel.
A feasibility study.
Joel, stop,
Yeah,
stop,
man.
stop, man, stop. Relax, calm down, take it easy.
But
Let's go
if you
slow.
had one, I told Glenn,
Let's-
I told you,
let's
if
go
we're
slow.
gonna have this conversation, you gotta allow me.
Let's go slow.
You gotta
I
allow
cannot.
me to
I cannot allow you. I cannot allow you to use fancy language to bring a point out that confuse or kerfuffle people's mind. Let us go slow. I want to explain what you're saying to them in those fancy language. A feasibility study, my friend, is very simple. It's to determine a project's viability.
Profitability.
correct.
Right? So
And
let's
the-
talk.
and
Where to make it more simple? Whether this thing will make money or not.
Profit or not, yes.
Okay?
Profitability.
And let me tell you something. Supplying of the gas is a key factor. Okay? But that's not the most important factor. The most important factor is the cost of the project, the price for the gas, and the other overhead expenses. That will determine whether you
So Glenn,
and
that's where
market
we have
and market.
different views.
Profitable or not.
And
That is
market.
where-
If you don't have market, then you can't get nowhere. And where is
And-
that feasibility study? Why there have been why there
Uncle
haven't
Daniel,
been
we've been
one as
hearing
yet?
you say that. We've been hearing you say that. Would you allow me to share my perspective?
I hear you. Go ahead now.
So you explain what is a feasibility study. Now I'm glad that you attempt to break down what is a feasibility study. Now essentially, allow me to break it down now in my own way for the layman. Essentially, a feasibility study, in order to determine the viability of a project, and especially of this magnitude, it has two major components. One, there is a financial component, and two, there is an economic component. Now, there is a distinction between economic viability and financial viability. Let me break that down further. What is the difference between financial viability and economic viability? So financial viability has to do whether Kaieteur News as a business enterprise is making profit. And you've been in existence, you celebrated your 20th anniversary a few days recently. That means Kaieteur News is financially viable because you've been making a profit for 20 years and can afford to provide sustainable income and employment for people. And with your business model and strategy, you will be in existence for the next 20, 30, 50 years with your business model. That is financial profitability that returns profit on your investment and pay your employees and pay your bills and pay your taxes. Now, what is economic viability? Economic viability means the project has to bring broader economic benefits to the entire country, to the people. Now, let me use your business, right? What are the economic benefits? And by the way, the 600 billion figure is not profitability. It's the economic benefits. I did not consider by the fact that the analysis I did not consider the other cost elements. So we only used the $1.3 billion figure. What I did was to determine what is the economic impact and if there is a net benefit. And that is what, don't confuse it with profitability, right? We didn't do the analysis yet or a cash flow projection. So let me explain what is economic benefit. What are the economic benefits of your company? You're paying corporate taxes. Taxes are being used to finance public goods and services and infrastructure. Your employees are paying PAYE, you're paying NIS. So the economic impact, and then you have to keep your business going. So you need suppliers. So you got purchase printer, you got purchase paper, you got purchase all the raw materials that goes into the production of your newspaper. So you've been sustaining an entire supply chain of businesses while providing employment for how much employees you got? 100, 200? So that is an example of economic benefit. A project of this scale has a much larger economic impact. And if the net benefit is not positive, then it doesn't make sense. So what I did was to determine what would be the economic impact, and there is sufficient data available to do that analysis. So what are the economic impact of the gas to shore project, or potentially for 25 years? We import 600 million US in fuel.
Not go there, man. Don't go there. Don't go back there. Don't go back there. Don't go back there. Don't go back there.
No, you have to allow me.
No. Don't go back there. Don't go back there, man. Don't do that.
If we're gonna halve energy cost with this
Don't do
project,
that. Can we move? Can we move?
Save fuel.
I have another question. Can we move?
Exchange.
Can we move?
You see, you don't want to allow me to explain.
I don't want to sit here, Joel. I don't want to sit here and listen to what you're
Uncle
saying.
Glenn, you got to be cognizant. It's not you listening, it's 100,000 viewers.
I am, no. You are talking, we are talking about a feasibility study, the viability of it, and it's the economic.
I thought we talking about the analysis I did, the cost benefit analysis.
Yeah.
The opportunity to
But
clarify,
wait,
but you're not allowing me.
let's move. 1.3 billion, let's use the 1.3 billion you use, man. Okay? To give Guyana electricity, right? 250 megawatt. Barbados. Prime Minister getting 178 million. 178 megawatt. For 100 million. But let's drop Barbados. Let's forget about Barbados. Only this morning, I am looking at the European news, and the entire Europe at present is running away from gas straight into renewables. Now, there's only one reason to run away from gas, heavy oil that you was going to tell us that GPL buy. They're running away from that because renewables, solar, hydro, and wind is far cheaper, is cleaner, and is better. Now, you did an analysis of this gas to shore project. Did you factor in? Did you use or cater for solar, hydro, and wind, and solar? Did you compare them?
Beautiful.
Go ahead.
Beautiful question, Glenn.
Go ahead.
But I hope you didn't interrupt me answer again, because every time you interrupt me, you're confusing your
Yeah, but I'm
viewers
asking
because
you
you're
a
not
simple
allowing me to
question
land.
that requires simple answers.
Exactly.
Yeah, you want to ask questions, and you want me to come and give you yes or no answer.
No, I am
I'm not
asking
giving
you
yes. You gotta
simple
explain it.
question. No. I am asking you
Right.
simple question that requires simple answer. I told you what Europe, what happening in Europe presently as we speak. I am asking you, did you factor in renewables into your analysis that in which you arrive at $650 something million? Go ahead.
So there are many technicalities to that, but I'm going to give you a simple answer, right? Guyana is signatory to the United Nations Sustainable Development Goal. And one of that Sustainable Development Goal is to transition to 100% renewable energy by whether it's 20 years or 25 years or whatever. So it is time bound and there is a goal. Now, in order to transition to renewable energy, natural gas is could be considered a transitionary.
Could we?
There's no need for transition.
My friend, you know, we don't need to switch.
You have to have
Man,
optimum
Joel, don't do this
energy
nation, this thing, man.
No. You have to have, Glenn, you have to have an optimum energy mix. Natural gas is cheaper. You can't compare Europe with Guyana. Glenn. Europe is an advanced economy. Guyana is a developing economy. And we have been stymied, our development have been stymied for the last, we have had 30 years since we moved to a democracy and a free marketed economy. And you know this well, Lall Glenn. You're senior to me. You're old enough to be my father. You've been around a long time. In that 30 years, we have had 21 years of instability, 21 years of riots and violence and crime and burning of the city and political instability.
Man, what are we talking about, man?
History would show. So
What are we talking about here?
compare apples and oranges.
No, don't do that,
Compare
man.
apples
Don't
and
do
apples.
that. Don't do that to this nation.
You can't compare Europe with
Don't do this to this nation, Joel.
So what do you suggest? You
Joel,
suggest we do it in natural gas.
Joel,
Commercial value.
Joel,
It's not only
please.
energy, you know.
Joel,
It's
please.
not only energy we get it from natural gas.
Joel,
we have over
please.
6,000 products that natural gas could help to produce. The feedstock is used.
Joel.
There is energy. It is used for industrial purposes.
Joel,
It
please.
is used for cooking gas. So we are saying we should if this resource has commercial value of 10 billion or 100 billion dollars, we must just throw it away.
Joel,
Would you do
please.
that?
Joel,
If
please.
you have an asset worth 100 billion dollars, would you do that? We
Joel,
have to commercialize it.
now you're telling
You
us
can't
Nancy's
compare-
story, Joel.
No, you talking Nancy
telling
story.
this-
You telling people Nancy story.
You're telling this
are not
country a
interested
Nancy
in
story,
Mr.
Joel.
A proper technical, intellectual discussion and a proper thorough analysis. You want to tell this nation Nancy story,
No, Joel, you're telling.
and that's how you sell your newspaper.
Joel,
But I must commend you though, right?
Joel.
On a friendly note.
Joel, right now, many businesses in this country are already on renewables.
Yes.
Okay? I myself is on renewables right now, Joel. Barbados is not a European country, but the entire world is going renewables, man. So don't try to kerfuffle people's head in this country until
You know what
that-
Barbados fuel import bill?
Wait, man,
You know
wait,
what
na, man.
Barbados fuel import bill?
Wait,
Barbados fuel import bill is $500 million.
I don't care what it is, but I am telling you that they are on
They're
par.
they're depending on our natural gas.
My
They're
friend,
depending on our natural gas.
what I'm saying to you loud and clear, what I'm saying to you loud and
Our
clear,
natural gas, including Trinidad, to develop our natural gas. So what Nancy story you talking about?
Joel, what I'm saying very clear, my friend, is that renewables is the way to go, and we can do that tomorrow morning. There have been several companies that has been sending me text messages that they can take care of Guyana electricity problems and supply electricity half the rate if they only get the go-ahead tomorrow morning. So this jiggery-poogery story you're telling us about the benefits to gas to sure.
That Europe has backup with nuclear. What happens when is the winter season, when there is no sunshine and no wind? How they get?
Man, why are you going
They
to?
have,
If
Europe gets power from natural gas. Why
if
do you think
Europe-
gas price went up?
my friend,
Because of the war in Russia.
My friend.
Turn off the pipes of gas price went up. Tell the nation that
You
don't
sound-
tell cherry
wait, man.
pick story and feed
Wait.
nonsense to the people.
wait,
You know what I mean? Europe has natural gas.
Joel,
They have nuclear. When the sun is shining for 6 months in Europe, how do you think they get?
Joel.
So if we get 6 month rain now, right? Or 6 month rain, no sunshine.
Joel,
How you getting energy? Where's the backup plan?
Joel,
No answer. That now. Answer.
Joel, I cannot entertain this type of discussion with you because you're not being fair. You're not.
How me and being fair? You want to protect
We are asking.
your views.
We are asking simple
You're
things.
asking me the question,
And
you
you-
want to answer the question, and you want me to tell you your
No, we are talking
The answer
about
to
Europe. If Europe is 6 years into winter and they're going with solar, Guyana does not have winter. This puts Guyana on par to the entire world. We are the best. We are on top. Wait, man, don't you understand that? What is so difficult for you to understand? That they're getting 6 months winter. They don't need the sunlight to generate electricity. And they're moving away from gas.
Gas is back up, but nuclear
Wait,
is back
man,
up.
they're running away right now as we speak from gas into renewables, into solar, into wind thing. And you using that as an... What are you doing, man?
Yeah,
Are you
but
impossible?
naturally, You're basing this decision
I am not
on
basing
only
anything.
one
I have asked you,
aspect.
the
Natural
question I
gas is
asked
not
you,
going to
Joel,
use for
did you
anything.
factor in renewables into your analysis? And you haven't answered that question.
Yes.
Where is
Let me
it?
answer the question. Even the renewables is not going to be enough, because by 2050, when you add 25 years to now, by 2050, when you look at the rate of development of this country and the demand forecast for power, right now is about 200 megawatts.
You know what Guyana
Gas
gets?
going to add how much? Another 200. Hydro
Joel.
add another 165. We will still have a shortfall in the future.
Wait.
For the future growth.
Wait,
of
you
the
know,
country.
Joel, you know what Guyana gets for 2 years from the oil?
More. You see, you are not interested to hear. You are not interested to hear.
Joel, the benefit you talk about Guyana will get, not from the gas. You shouldn't talk about it. You should talk about what benefit Guyana getting from the oil. We got 52 million.
We got
We
come
got
back again
52
to
million
talk
in
about.
2 years. You care to comment on that?
Oh yes. So you see again, you're plucking out thing. You're talking about 52 million. That's the royalty. What happened to the profit oil?
I am giving you,
And in 2020, you talk about 2 years, but you didn't tell the viewers that in 2020, production was reduced because of the pandemic. Exxon was only producing from Liza phase 1,
So now
right? But they were not
Wait.
producing at full
Wait.
capacity,
my friend,
which is 120,000.
my
barrels per
friend,
day.
now
And
don't
it had
mislead
oil
this
price in
nation, please.
2020 because of the pandemic.
Don't mislead this nation. ExxonMobil
I
have
am
been
not
pumping every
misleading
single
you,
day.
misleading-
COVID
Those are the
or no
facts.
COVID.
Ask him also when I get
Bring
back.
Christopher Ram and bring all your other financial analysts and have this discussion with me.
Thank you.
You're interested to hear what happened in 2020, but you tell the people
Tell
2
them
years,
thank you.
we only collect 80 million, but you don't talk about the profit oil. You don't talk about the COVID pandemic, oil price, futures crash.
Thank
to
you.
Negative.
Joel,
You ain't talk about all of that.
Joel, thank
You
you.
talk about production reduced.
Joel, have a great evening. Thanks. It was nice having you on board. Have a great evening. Good night.
Okay, sir.
Good.
I thought I'd have more time with
No.
you.
Go ahead. Go. I will not sit back and allow these people.
No, because
No.
you
I tell him good night,
You thought
man.
I'm a walkover.
No.
You thought this one little bit-
If you can't answer basic, simple,
If
straightforward
you can't
questions,
understand basic
and you going around in
explanation of
circle
technical-
trying to
of technical
kerfuffle people's
information,
mind in this country,
I am
Glenn Lall will not allow
explaining
you,
a technical-
Glenn Lall will not allow you or any one of your acolytes to come here on this
Because
radio
it is-
and mislead the people. No, I will not. Never will I do that. I am asking very straightforward
Very
questions.
simple question.
I show you figures with facts. Is a production report I read. 719 million total in royalty and profit sharing. What else do you want? We have another twist to it. And this is what these guys are being paid to do.
Yes.
This is the slant. This is the slant. This is the Jagdeo exercise book they're reading from.
How is it economically feasible to pay $2 billion for 250 megawatts
Yes.
when Barbados is getting 356 megawatts for $200 million?
Yes.
That is
They're
1.1. That is 1.8 billion cheaper for two. Barbados is paying 1.8 billion cheaper for 250 for 356 megawatts, and we are paying us for 256 megawatts. What are this guy think we stupid in this place, man?
Yes.
What the hell's the matter with him?
They're selling you pig in bag, man.
No,
That's what it
he
is.
thinks
With fancy language.
He thinks you're a bunch of fools.
Yes.
He gonna quote figures. Why doesn't he defend the economical feasibility study?
Exactly.
There is no feasibility study. Right? They say the Suriname requires a feasibility study for the County River Bridge.
Exactly.
There will not be a County River Bridge because it is not economically feasible. There is not the amount of traffic cost in the bridge to make paying for the bridge economically feasible.
Exactly. But, and I'm glad you bring that up, Bernard. Yes, the Surinamese people tell them if they want to build a bridge, they must have a feasibility study done.
Everywhere in the world, any smart businessman gets an
Exactly.
economical feasibility study. Why would
Exactly.
you pay him billions of dollars for a loss-making enterprise?
Right.
That is not business sense. No businessman in the world does that. Business is business not to be busy, but to make money.
First time I have heard a financial analyst
Defend no economic feasibility study.
defend an analysis he did for a project and without facts and figures, without
The most basic thing, what is the price we are paying for the gas? We will
must know that.
pay $1.3 billion for the pipeline. Another $1 billion for the factory, for the turbines, for everything. Right? That is $2 billion. And then plus you don't know the cost of the gas.
1 second. Good evening, sir.
Mr. Glenn,
Yes, sir.
how did you encourage a clown like that? Haven't give you any specific, just dancing around the issue, and you entertain him for so long.
I know.
Leave him, he hung himself.
I know.
The people will judge that.
I haven't made any specific answer. All he doing, he's dodging and bobbing and dodging and bobbing.
Yeah. Jack, they train him well.
Well, you know what? He's a young kid.
Yeah.
He just come out of a pamper. Ask him his experience in the oil and gas sector. I bet you 10 to 1 he has none.
Oh boy, you know, I've learned.
Come on, brother Glenn. I'm surprised that you letting this kid carry on so long.
I have learned in life. To watch people and look where they're coming from and just suss them out. That's why I told him I couldn't continue the discussion because I was asking him very simple and straightforward question that requires simple answers, and he running around and dancing around. I talk about Europe. He telling about Europe got 7-month winter. What that has to do with my question I ask him? The people going towards renewables. What we are on the brighter side. Like you forget that we are on the brighter side. We don't have no winter.
Exactly.
Right? And if them can go into renewables.
Give you any straight answer. No straight answer.
This is what they do. This is why they can't come and sit down with proper analytical people who understand. You understand? But I'm happy that he came here. I think the people who are
He
listening.
looked like a fool.
No.
He looked like a fool because if you think he would come with all his specific answers, when you ask him if there is any feasibility study, again, he went back to say there is one ongoing. It's either or not.
Yeah, they're guessing it. Well, they want to kerfuffle you, you know? They want to mix you up, confuse you. Jagdev is a king for that. Jagdev, Brasington, Ashley Singh, oh my God. These are the king for these things, man. And I think he's part of the league. So this is why I keep saying to this nation, you guys have to listen to these people. Watch them in the face. Listen to the words that come out of their mouth. Analyze them properly. Don't trust them what they say. I do not, I've said it many times, I do not even trust a word, much as a sentence come out from these guys' mouth.
Exactly.
You know? They lie through their
Kid
teeth.
is like he's in a circle.
Yeah. They lie through their teeth. And let me tell you something. Let me tell you, Danny, they're bright guys. You understand? But I use the brightness, you know,
For evil.
just for evil.
Instead of good, yes.
You know? Just for evil.
correct. That's correct.
Yeah, man.
Yes.
Watch your.
Anyway, Mr.
This
Glenn,
man is watching us.
tomorrow-
This man is watching us straight in our face, right? And lie to us. He pushing his finger down the eye like that.
Glenn, this is the
No, he thinks he is. No, Glenn, stop. He thinks he is. He thinks he is, but we're not dummies. We know better.
Thank you. Thank you.
Anyway, listen, tomorrow, Mr. Glenn Lall, we're having from 3 o'clock to 6 o'clock with Mr. Darsh Kushial, an expert in oil and gas. We're having a rally on Liberty Avenue and Leffords Boulevard from 3 to 6. That man is a specialist when it comes to oil and gas. This kid will have to wipe his shoes when he talks about oil and gas. So when he wants to debate an issue like that, let him talk to Darsh Kushial from Canada.
I'll join you guys. What time is it tomorrow?
From 3 to 6.
Good, I'll join you guys. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Good
All
night,
right.
boys.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
Hello? Hello? Yes,
I was listening to this guy. I want to know why he did this comparison about riot and burning down a horde, and then you were trying to tell him, no, don't go down that way.
but that's not even what he came here to talk about.
It don't make sense why he had to go and make this comparison
You
about
see,
Guyana had a lot of riots and
One
burning
second,
down.
one second. This is the mindset of the Guyanese people. This is what the politicians have been pouring and preaching every day into the minds and the hearts of the Guyanese people. And this is happening on both sides of the coin, both in the coalition and the PPP government. This is why I'm telling you guys, we are in serious trouble with this type of attitude and mentality. This is what, if you speak to the other side of the fence, this is what they do too. You know?
My belief, this gas, the short project that they are pushing for, is to benefit they and the friend, not the Guyanese people. But it's like for the Guyanese, it's like a big stone on the head and overboard. Thank you.
Hold on the line. Hold on the line, my friend. You are spot on when you say that this gas ashore project, it will benefit the private players they are installing in it and not benefit the Guyanese people. That's why I asked him if he owns a company or if he's working for them or if he was promised anything by the government and or the oil company that led him to come about with that analysis written in the Chronicle. And when he said yes, I smiled because I knew maybe he or his company is part of the project there. Now, it's the same thing Jagdeo did with the Borbees Bridge. That Borbees Bridge has been working from day one to fatten the private people's pocket. The Marriott Hotel is the same thing. Although the government and we the taxpayers put a chunk of the money, that is exactly what they're going to do there with the Wales gas to plant. They are going to do that same thing, but in a different way with the Amelia Falls Hydro Project. That will milk the Guyanese people pocket, our pocket, all to full. Them say is a private Chinese man pocket. You believe that, right? Yes, I believe that too.
Exactly, yeah.
Once you get the gist of what is going on, man, they have a man named Kevin Ramnarine, the former energy minister out of Trinidad and Tobago. We carried the story in the Kaieteur news of what he did, the dilemma he put Trinidad in with their oil company, man, and he was the man advising Guyana on the gas ashore project. You don't want to know the crookishness that if Rowley didn't go in and Lucky go in time to change it, if not by now Trinidad would have been bawling, tying down the entire country to a deal. A very, man, you don't want to hear me, I use the word for them. Well, this is the kind of deal these people doing in this land. And I want you to understand. This is why they could keep sending me a letter for pay your license fee up front for 2022. We can't wait. You understand? If not, we can shut you down. We can take legal action.
Most likely, that's how they would want to suppress you. But I'm telling you, they will not prevail, Mr. Glenn.
Man, you have social media. You got TikTok. They just call me TikTok, and now you got online radio. You hear what I tell you? Online radio, I'm never tell them peace of my mind. But the only thing, the populace of this country who do not have access to the internet, they will not be the ones able to listen to me. Right? And that's my only concern. If not, I take this radio station and give them a long time. Because paying them $4 or $5 million a year, it's like, what am I doing that for? But just because the people of this country can't hear me, cannot listen to me on the radio explaining these Ponzi schemes that they are pulling, that they have been pulling, continuing to pull, and will continue to pull on this nation. That's why I am on this, I'm still holding on to this radio. This is not a big deal, man.
And they're doing that about pressing you for these taxes because they don't want the Guyanese people
to know.
So they want the Guyanese people. Because for me, I was ignorant. I thought that these people were good people.
No way.
I thought these people, when they're talking about the GDP growth and the economy and all these things, I used to say, but then the bottom line, we the Guyanese, I don't beg Mr. Lall, but look, I telling you, the children them, look in school, they don't even got bench for sit down fun. They don't even got bench for sit down fun.
I know. You understand what's you understand what is GDP?
I thought before.
Let me give you a very let me
good when we just hear.
Let me give you.
GDP growth, but you make us understand. There's just a word for me now.
No, let me give you.
When you hear this growth, you ain't seeing nothing in reality.
Hang up. Let me give you a simple example. What's GDP?
Okay,
Hang up. Uncle and auntie, let me explain this GDP. What the world say Guyana is the fastest growing, has the fastest growing GDP on earth. GDP is gross domestic produce or product. It simply means what you produce, uncle, that's what I'm measure. GDP is a measurement. It's just a measurement. Let's say you're planting mango or coconut in your yard. How much bag mango come out your yard every day? That's what them count. That is what them measure. How you grow. If you bring out 10 bag mango yesterday, and then come tomorrow you bring out 20, more than your next door neighbor, it means that you growing faster than your neighbor. That's what GDP means in a nutshell, man. Who house bring out more mango when the day come? So now Guyana is throwing out more oil, more diamond, more gold coming out of Guyana because you got ExxonMobil, you got Omai, Domai, and Somai, Sinjin and Binjin. So the more we send out from we yard, that is what the international body counting and say, oh God, watch how much thing coming out of Guyana. Are you the fastest growing house on earth? Yes, it's how much come out you yard, that what I'm measure you with. What the international body doesn't know, uncle and auntie, and this is what Jack David, them not telling you. They're only throwing this fancy language at you. You know, we're growing, we're the fastest growing. Yes, you're fastest growing on pen and paper, on books. But uncle and auntie, what they're not telling you is that who is growing? Guyana not getting nothing. What coming out the yard is the foreign people. What coming in your yard, fetching out the mango and fetching out the coconut, is them pocket full in. But the GDP, the international people who do these calculations and a monetary growth, them a record, them all them do record what come out of Guyana, and they put it in the open, so the world can see. So this is why the international people can say, oh gosh, Guyana is the fastest place, man. You see how much thing coming out of there? But what I don't know is that nothing come for me and you. So when I tell you this crap about GDP, chase them out your yard, man. You hear what I'm telling you? Nothing you getting. Them bring the foreigners to thief you wealth. And that what them a measure and say how much coming out your yard. In a nutshell, simple like that, that is what GDP is all about. Yes, go ahead. It's a bit, and they like show off. They like to boast how we're growing. Growing what? Where you growing? Which one do you like change so far? Good evening, you're live on the air.
Hello?
Yes, you're live on the air.
Yeah. That girl made the young fella look like a joke, man. That girl ain't so they were what that game on the telephone talk there and they got to talk there.
Exactly.
Okay.
Thank you. Exactly. Jack did not tell him of attack there. A matter of fact, I wanted to ask him. He did that analysis and sent it to the Guyana Chronicle. He sent it to all the media houses. Guess what? I ain't see it published nowhere but the Guyana Chronicle. You know why? Because it's a jiggery-poogly Nancy story.
Nonsense, exactly.
Total nonsense. Who's going to publish that? But the government would publish that because that is the line they want to sell.
If you don't know the price of gas, what's he basing on that for?
Exactly. You don't know the price
Of a product.
of a product, and you don't determine profit in the billions.
Exactly.
Yeah? Come on, man. You don't gotta go to school to understand this, uncle. You don't know the price you can pay for this cup me got in my hand. How you gonna determine profit?
He's a financial analyst. How you can be financial? You don't know the cost of a product, and you would say if you're not gonna say the product.
Exactly.
This thing is profitable or not.
Exactly.
You say it's profitable to the tune of $3 million.
These guys, I can only describe them as a set of clowns, not even morons.
You can decide the price for something. A product.
Hey, Joshua.
Yes, sir.
I'm showing sign that I have to get off the radio, uncle and auntie.
Yes.
I think it's time. I passed my bedtime too. Do have a great weekend. I'll see you guys back on Monday.